Hello, trading is closed on September 17th, 2020. Let's do our disclaimer and go over our calls. This is my plan for tomorrow. No guarantee it's the right plan. If you want to use the information, do so at your own risk. Just a reminder, my webinar is next Wednesday after the market closed. It's intended for people who have read my book and aren't getting the results they want to get. It's not my intention to reteach the whole system, just to go over how I use it. If you're not familiar with it, I would recommend reading the book first. Look for the pattern with the early high. This is it. Tomorrow has the early low. We looked for lower prices and we certainly got them. What we said should lead to more weakness. Tomorrow is the early low. During the day, MEJT said this drop was false, that price would retrace. Said the rally was false and price would retrace. That's already happened. These yellow lines are a MEJT resistance area. Doesn't mean resistance has to hold, but we stopped at resistance. Now it is somewhat positive that we gapped down, hit a lower low, closed over all those lows. Normally it's a bullish pattern, but it gets invalidated if these lows fall early tomorrow, and I think that's more likely than not. Here's where we are. You can see we started an impulsive move down, and the idea is once this consolidation ends, another impulse down should be coming. It's impossible to be certain of the count, but if so, here's an impulse in the consolidation, and when the consolidation's over, another impulse down starts. Now, here's a gap. Here's a gap. This is kind of a diamond on stilts with support at the origin of the left stilt. When you have gaps inside of a consolidation, these gaps fill with another consolidation. They can either fill after they happen, or in this case, if you look where this gap is, it's filled before the consolidation. Just look between these blue lines, which are Fibonacci retracements of the last leg up. This is 61.8 and this one is 38.2. You can see where we stopped, and we've already had a consolidation in that area, and typically you have the consolidation before the gaps or after it, but not both. So it makes it less likely these gaps will fill. So far we stopped right at a retouch of the prior lows, which means this consolidation is held as resistance, and also right at this Fibonacci resistance area. So all this piddling around didn't accomplish much. It is somewhat positive that we closed over all these prior lows. We closed at this blue line. That's over all these lows. But it's not so positive that we've tested this lower line so many times. Usually when you test the line that many times, it's going to break at some point. It doesn't mean it has to break tomorrow. But according to someone else's work, we dropped low enough today, just about guarantee that before too long this low is going to fall. Tomorrow's pattern has the early low. Usually it's bullish with a high in the final hour, But if you move down significantly in the first hour or two, it turns the tables. Further weakness ensues, not necessarily the same day. If you gap down, hit a lower low, closed over all the lows. Normally it leads to a rally lest we gap and promptly undercut the low of the day. I feel such a gap, an early decline, well, it doesn't have to be a gap, but an early decline is more likely than not. The gap down after 3 days of gapping up, so the last rally attempt failed. We've had some recovery attempts. They've stalled at typical resistance levels. Gapping under today's low. Should it occur, hasn't happened yet. Should it occur, we'll only need prompt follow-through to initiate a steep decline, even if we recovered somewhat tomorrow. This wouldn't all have to happen in a day. So, look for the pattern with the early low. Early weakness means trouble. As always, gapping up smartly is going to kill the call before the open. Webinar is next week. Anybody wants a link, here's my email. Should be an exciting day tomorrow, especially if you're a bear, and especially if we get this early drop. Just remember, gapping up kills the call before the open. And that is today's call.